Hello everyone, Ella London here with Hurley, and we're so happy to see you, and we're even more excited because we're going to have our first guest on Sunshine Sundays today. Shall we tell them who it is? Shall we tell them? It's Mary England. And Mary England is the one who inspired Gratitude Corner, and so it's so right and so perfect that she is our first guest. She is such an amazing person. She's an author. She has an amazing membership platform, and I'm excited for you to get to know her more. One of my favorite things that I love is on her website, Uncustomary.org. She has this saying that says, "Fall deeply in love with yourself and live the happy life you deserve." And so I welcome you into this space of Sunshine Sundays to meet Mary England and learn some of her amazing magical daily rituals and so much more. Here we go. Hello, I'm Ella London, also known as Miss Sunshine, and welcome to Sunshine Sundays. Hey everyone, I am so incredibly excited. Mary England is with us today of Uncustomary, and I love her so much. She is all about self-love, body positivity, and she celebrates things daily. And one of my favorite terms that I learned from meeting her was practical optimism. Here she is, Mary England. Welcome to Sunshine Sundays.
I'm so excited to be here. I love what you're doing with your videos and just everything sunshiny, and I'm so happy that we get to do this.
It's great, and I think people may have noticed by now that you are wearing all yellow as well.
I am dressed for the occasion.
You're not just wearing yellow for me, it's also your favorite color as well, right?
Yes, it has been my favorite color since I could speak. It was one of my favorite, or first words, and it's always been my favorite color. For me, it's the one that stands out the most. Like, I can pick it out of any lineup. It just seems the brightest to me, and I feel like it represents like hope and optimism and joy, and it's, color psychology wise, the thing that really helps us to feel those things too. It's not just a thing that we kind of trick ourselves into. It really just brings out those feelings in us.
Exactly, and that's what I love is that we met on Instagram, and I was immediately attracted to your profile because you just so colorful, and there was a lot of yellow, which helped. But the fact that you're so focused on what I'm focused on as well, which is bringing the sunshine, bringing the positivity, and it's not about. I was talking on my last vlog, but it's not about covering things up that are bad and sad with sunshine, but it is creating that hope and those points of reference for us to look at through the day and be positive about and be happy about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I started with a sense of, maybe when I was learning first to cover things up and just kind of start with those coping skills of making gratitude lists and saying stuff. But I've learned that it's better to, deal with our issues and our feelings and experience all of them. And, we can have sunshine at the back of everything. It can be the cornerstone of positivity and, or just our lives, and realize that, like, at the end of the day, we still want to get back up even if we're down.
Absolutely. And I know a big part of that for you has been creating what you call magical daily rituals. And I'm super excited for you to share what that means to you and how, because you have a membership platform, correct?
Yeah. It's called Uncustomary Babes.
Uncustomary Babes. I'm going to put the links down. I'm going to put the links down to everything that she has down in the description here. But I love it because you provide this platform that just gives so much inspiration and hope to people. And I'm super excited for you to share with us right now some of your tips on magical daily routines.
Yeah. So magical daily routines is like, people talk about having a morning ritual, right? And it's just whatever we want to call it. And that's just what I've ended up calling it. And it can be in the morning, it can be at night, it can be whenever you want it to be. It can be 5 minutes or 2 hours. And there are like not many things that I can think of that are better for creating a strong foundation for self-love and happiness other than having a ritual that we come back to. So I think like some tips for this that are tangible for you are to pick a time. Most people pick morning or night, but again, it's just about this consistency and showing up for yourself over and over again. And I know a lot of us will resist this idea because we are busy. We say we don't have time. This routine never needs to be something that is super intense or long. Everyone has different responsibilities and things, but it can be 5 minutes or less. It's something I call a micro movement. Again, it's just all about showing up. And if you really want to prioritize something, you can wake up 5 minutes earlier and do that. It can be that. And make time for self-care, because when we don't, then we won't be able to help ourselves as much, which means that we then in turn can't help our loved ones and make the world better, because we're like, not able to really start a revolution when we're pouring from an empty, exhausted cup.
That's so true. And I think that, you really hit the nail on the head right there, where you're saying, it's like, is creating those moments during the day or evening, whatever it is, that's that consistent thing to come back to. Because, for me, during the lockdown and everything that's going on with COVID-19, I've definitely realized for me that I don't have a daily ritual, and it's been really tough for me to adjust. And I find myself just lying down watching Netflix and going there, and then I actually end up feeling more depressed and more fatigued. You've mentioned, like, when you're making your tea or your coffee, actually take the time to really appreciate that. And could you speak to that a little bit more? Because I think sometimes rituals, people see it as this big thing, but you've really shown me that it's the little things that can really make a big impact.
So mindfulness has a lot to do with this, and like being in touch with our bodies and our senses. So if the thing that you do every day is to make your hot, cold drink, caffeine, whatever in the morning, it's about like opening that package or putting the water in and listening to the sounds of the pops of the crinkles of the package, listening to the water trickle in, and just being really mindful and slow and deliberate with this experience that you're having, and knowing if this is the time that you're carving out for yourself, then let's enjoy it. Let's appreciate this experience and be grateful for it. Be grateful for this coffee and all the hands that it went through in order for it to get to you, and just have this perspective and feeling. And it'll feel so much better and taste so much better when you actually get it.
I can definitely attest to that. With me just making, I made an evening ritual last night. I made some chamomile and lavender tea, and it just felt so good. And there was a little saying on the tag, so I read that, and I didn't just read it like I usually just read it and be like, okay, that's fine, toss it away. But I actually read it, and I took some time just to kind of let it sink in, and just to enjoy that somebody had taken the time to write that on the tag. They didn't have to do that, but they did, and it made a difference in that moment for me.
Not just being grateful for what we have, but like how it got to us is absolutely really important. With all this stuff going on with COVID right now in the world, it is not really any better time that I can think of to create a ritual or a routine or habit or whatever you want to call it, something that becomes a non-negotiable, so that when we do go back out into the world, when it becomes more restructured, then we have this thing that isn't a decision that we're making anymore. A habit is the opposite of a decision. We are no longer choosing it. It's just part of our lifestyle. So, some people have more responsibilities with taking care of kids, but you could make that habit, that ritual, part of your family routine, right? And something that was really powerful to me was one of my friends that is very creative, thought that they weren't writing because they were so busy, and then they weren't able to go to their job, and they had this moment of like epiphany and realized, oh, I'm not writing because I'm not writing. I have all this time and I'm still not doing it. So it's about making the time. And if it's someday just picking up the pen and putting it back down, picking out a notebook, putting it back down, writing one word, putting it back down, that's progress. It's better than doing nothing.
Oh my goodness, that just really spoke to me as you were saying that. I kind of almost teared up right there. I did, because just thinking about all the things that I've kind of put aside over the years and said, oh, I'll do that, like I'll do some sewing, or I'll write that blog or whatever it is, or I'll start something. And I've always been like, always had that kind of excuse of, oh, I'm too busy, or I have this on, or I have that on. And you're absolutely right. During this time, I personally haven't been as busy. I know some people are super busy, but I haven't been as busy. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I'm not doing this because I'm not doing it. I'm not making time for me or myself. I'm not giving myself the self-love, or in some ways the respect. I'm not giving myself the respect for my talents, and also what I can bring to the world. And that was actually one reason why I started Sunshine Sundays, is because I wanted to bring what I do every day into the world. And I would love to know from you, because I know we could talk forever and ever about this, because it's so resonating with me right now. But I would love to hear from you kind of a little bit about your backstory and why you started Uncustomary Babes, and a little bit more about you and where you come from.
I have a background with mental health myself. I have like 6 different diagnoses, and I went to school for psychology. I worked at a psych rehab, and a lot of my interest in all of this comes from a very emotional state of wanting to help people with that are struggling with mental health, because we all have mental health. We don't always have mental illness, but we all need to take care of ourselves. And I also struggled with body image and body positivity, and it's just like, I know what it's like to be on one side and be depressed and feel very dark and feel like there's no hope. And then I know what it's like to work every day and see that there's hope at the top of the mountain that you can still climb back out of. And I think that my mission on this earth is to help other people with my disposition of being a practical optimist, and not to slap a sticker on something and say now it's cured, but to say let's work together, and I can help you with my experience, provide you with resources on self-love, self-care, body positivity, mental health, kindness, creativity, all those things, and then work with you, not just giving you resources, but a support system with other people that are like-minded, working towards the same thing, and also with me as a coach. And it's been one of the best things that I've created, Uncustomary Babes, and just my business in general. It's a way that I can reach people with all of these resources and share my message and hopefully help.
Thank you so much. It's like all these little sparks of hope, as I was saying on my last episode, little sparks of hope and light, just need to be cherished. And you're someone that I just really cherish and appreciate. Not only for you coming on my vlog and being my first guest, but also for your openness and your joy. And I know that you have some amazing free resources for my audience, and I'm going to put the links down below to that, and your amazing membership platform, which I believe you have a special offer on right now.
Yeah, so I want to make everything always accessible as possible. So it's actually 50% off for an entire year right now. It would usually be $8 a month, which is still pretty much a really great bargain for a year's worth of archives that you get when you join, and new resources like every week. But it's 50% off for an entire year right now, which is just $45, and it works out to a month. It's really, really attainable, and you don't have a recurring subscription. You can just decide next year if you want to rejoin.
That's fantastic. So. Wow. And I will say that you are the content queen. It's like I definitely, it's like I go on my Instagram, I'm like, okay, yeah, I posted like 2 weeks ago, and you've like literally done like 14 posts since then. It's just like your posts aren't just posting like pictures. It's like they're actually meaningful, like really the things that you can really grasp onto. And then I know that you have a whole bunch more resources on your actual membership platform.
Thank you. Yeah, I always tell people, like, if you like my Instagram and my YouTube channel, those are my free resources. Imagine what you could get if you paid.
Like, ooh, exciting. Let's find out. All right, wonderful. Well, I would love to take you on the journey of my vlog, because not only did you inspire my gratitude corner, but you also, when we met in Los Angeles, which was so cool. It was like one of my favorite days. In fact, it probably was my favorite day this year. but when we met, we did some dancing as well. And so I'd love to bring you in up for the next segment right here, which is Dance Break.
Rainbow tutu coming up.
Woohoo! I think we all know what time it is. Dance Break! And I am so excited that Mary England is joining me all the way from her home in Baltimore. And we're going to do a dance break together. So remember, put on your tutu, whether real or imaginary, and dance with us. And that was Dance Break. So glad you could join me and Mary. Wasn't it too fun? I love it. And now on to the segment of the show inspired by Mary England herself, Gratitude Corner. Oh my gosh, you're wearing a different hat.
Yes, we seem to have changed headwear.
Oh yes, me too. It's like I'm wearing yours and you're wearing a new one.
Yes.
I love it. You are all about the flower crowns, which makes me happy.
I have like 100.
Yeah. And I thought that it would be really lovely during this time, Mary, to kind of dig a little deeper into what gratitude means to you and how it's changed your life. And then also just some tips for us on how to incorporate gratitude into our magical daily rituals.
So gratitude is probably my favorite way to create a ritual every day and have something to come back to. I've been doing it on my own initiative for over 10 years, since I was 19. And besides therapy, it is definitely the one thing that I attribute the most to changing my life and just my general mindset and perspective. And it is basically because when I practice gratitude, it's more than just writing a list. It really does scientifically shift your mindset. So you have to literally think about what you already have and celebrate it. You know, gratitude is about celebrating what you already have, not like looking for what you don't. And when we are able to, be appreciative of the things that we have, we can actually the things that we want come to us even easier. More like simple pleasures, or whatever you want to call them, show themselves to us in an easier fashion. We are delighted by play and optimism in an easier way. And when I go a week without writing in my gratitude journal or making a list, I see my mood just go in completely downward. And that can be also from other mental health reasons, which is probably why I'm not writing the list also. But when I just make the time to write a list, even if it's just a couple things, I notice my mood improve. And that's why I have been harping on gratitude lists for so long. Like whenever someone's like, how do I get started on self-love? I'm like, gratitude, 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 gratitude. It's the first chapter in my book. It's the first chapter in my e-courses. It's everything. So, I mean, it's really whatever you want to do. I know that you were inspired for this corner from my Instagram, which is a way that I have been kind of shifting gears in a more digital way to get the message out about gratitude, because I make these templates online for people to share on Instagram stories in a very easy, accessible way. A lot of people only want to use digital things these days, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to use a notebook or whatever it is. You know, these structures are all just ideas and stories that we tell ourselves. It's about you coming up, showing up, and demonstrating gratitude. It's just the action.
I love that, and I love that you found that it changed your life incredibly, like,
Absolutely.
and that you can really see the difference when you're doing it. I have to say, for me, when I started doing it, inspired by you, just being grateful, I really struggled. Like, I mean, it's not that I'm not a grateful person. I'm incredibly grateful for what I have. But it was like, as soon as I got the pen out and the paper, it was like almost like my mind went blank. And it was a very weird sensation because, it's like, and I think part of it for me was that I felt like it needed to be something big. Like I needed to find something big in my day that I was grateful for. And then the more that I started reading your lists and the more that I started doing it for myself, I realized that I was just finding little things like snuggling with Hurley, or just grateful that I have an electric kettle to make tea, or grateful that somebody drew some amazing art in chalk on the sidewalk, and it started then kind of like torrenting, like it was like a waterfall suddenly. And
I think that it's really important. Like, I mean, I do think that people struggle with this idea, and that's something that blocks us just mentally, of thinking it needs to be huge. It needs to be this big thing where I'm grateful for, something magnificent or whatever we're thinking. But one, if it makes you happy, if it makes you feel good, then it counts. There is no small thing. There are no simple pleasures. If something makes you feel good, it is a pleasure. It is something that makes you happy. It is something that you are grateful for. There's no levels to this thing. So it's really important to not devalue and label things as simple, because the language that we use is very important. And one of the tips that I give people is, one, to label your journal as whatever you want. If you don't want to call it a gratitude journal, don't. If you want to call it a happy journal, that's what I call it. And it makes everything a little more accessible to me. It doesn't need to be something that I'm, quote, grateful for. It's something that made me feel good, something that made me happy. So it can be a sunshine journal. It can be whatever you want it to be, And another thing that I recommend to people, which again feels daunting, but like you said, once you get the juices flowing, it really helps, is to make a list of 100 things that you're grateful for and make you happy. And I know that feels like a lot, but if you can do that, and you can, there are more than 100 things in this world that you like, that make you happy. And I'm grateful that I can see in color. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I got to experience this thing 10 years ago. I'm grateful that I will get to have the opportunity to do this. I'm grateful that I got to eat a bagel this morning. It could be anything and everything, And when you allow the juices to start flowing, you see how things can go and manifest and become so easily accessible.
That's so beautiful. And yeah, it was a little overwhelming when you said, the 100 things, but then when you started just kind of like listing them off, it's like, oh yes, there's that and there's that. And it's like you said, no small thing, it doesn't make it insignificant. It's like there's so many things that I've realized that I'm so grateful for that I have taken for granted in my life.
And I think this is a really good time during COVID to be like, what were you taking for granted? What do you miss right now? That's something you're grateful for. What can you not wait to do? That's something you're grateful for. All of those things. And just because it's a material thing, don't get hung up on that. You can look around your house and look at all the yellow things and be grateful for all of those, and they count on that list. Yeah. Don't get hung up on the idea that that's superficial. It's not. If it brings you joy, it brings you joy. Marie Kondo. Bring it out around for all 4 episodes.
I know. I wish you'd do some more episodes right now. I kind of feel like we all need some more Marie Kondo in our life at the moment.
Yeah, choosing a system that works for you, like digital or paper, are usually the 2 main ones. I have a ton of other ideas. You can make a jar of things that you stuff in. You can make a calendar or a sticky note wall or a vlog. Anything works for you, but it's also really important to establish a minimum effort. So I pick at least a minimum of 3 things to do every day to list, because the reality is that you're going to have those bad days, right, where you don't want to make a list. And those are actually the most important days to write your gratitude list, because one, it's important to keep that consistency and show up for yourself with these rituals, right? But it's also going to help you come out of the funk a little bit and boost your mood, if only for a little bit, and give you perspective on what you're grateful for.
No, I think that's so true, is finding that like what's the minimum that you're going to commit to, and commit to that.
And like on those days where you're struggling, or you break up with someone, or something horrible happens, like if the things that you write down are, I had lunch today, I was able to fall asleep, and I have clean oxygen, like there's your
there it is, right there. It's like, I got up in the morning, I actually made it out of bed. So yeah, I think finding those little things even on a bad day, and again, nothing's superficial, nothing is too small, and nothing is too big. I think it's starting to realize that, and I love that tie into the magical daily rituals that you really inspire us all to do.
Just start where you are.
Start where you are, and it's like, enjoy the moment, be grateful for the moment. I mean, you can even be grateful for the fact that you're taking a moment to be grateful.
Be grateful for the fact that you are ahead of the game by applying gratitude to part of your daily life and structure, and just having the perspective that gratitude is an important part of our evolution and transformation as human beings, because a lot of people aren't doing that. And when you do, it will radically transform your life, your self-love, your perspective, and that's gratitude on its own.
You just speak words that speak to my heart, Mary. Thank you, and I wish that we could continue this forever and ever and ever. But we will have to have you back on at some point in time. Thank you so much for being my first guest.
Absolutely.
Before we go, I just want to make sure people are aware that Mary England has put together some amazing resources for you on her website. And it is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's uncustomary.org/Ella.
Yes.
Yay. All right. So everyone go to uncustomary.org/Ella, and you will find on there the resources that Mary has specially put together for us. And there's also, that link will be down in the description for you to easily click on. But Mary, is there anything you'd love to leave my audience with today?
You all are already on the right track, doing everything with following Ella and looking for the practical optimism, the positivity, the sunshine, the gratitude. And if you're going to start a habit, this is a really great time to do it. So what can you add to your life that's going to help your self-care? Start it now.
All right, brilliant. Thank you. And don't forget, Mary England is also on Instagram, and she has got an amazing YouTube channel as well. So definitely go subscribe to that if you haven't already. And Mary, thank you so much. You brought so much sunshine, happiness, hope, and joy to my vlog today. And thank you again for being my first guest.
Thank you so much. All right, thanks guys.
Bye. People, I am absolutely thrilled. It was such a blessing to have Mary England on Sunshine Sundays, our first guest. Yay, more to come. And just remember that the link to all of her amazing resources is in the description below. Please subscribe to her on YouTube. Amazing content. And you can also subscribe to me as well. I'd love that. And ring the bell so that you know every Sunday when I post Sunshine Sundays. Yes. All right. Love you all. Mwah.